didn't have. I mean, I had my binoculars handy because I use those to look at the deer. But I didn't have a telescope or anything, and I could see it with my naked eye. It was so amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I watched the video of it. And it's pretty awesome. I remember
Yeah,
several
and
years
that whole
ago.
that whole catch was nuts.
I remember
I
several
was
years
just like,
ago when
boink.
I was out walking one evening and I looked up and I saw this line of look like stars. I was like, oh man, this is it. Here they come. And it's just
Aliens, man.
Starlink.
Right, and it was Starlink going up. Yeah, and I've seen Starlink a couple of times, from the farm, and it's another one of those things that just breaks my heart about selling this stupid place. Uh, just brother,
Yeah.
the stargazing out there is amazing because the nearest town to me is 8 miles east or west,
Hmm.
and there's almost no light pollution from either of them.
Yeah. That
You know,
makes a
the
big
the
difference.
light pollution I see up there literally comes from San Antonio and Austin. I can see the loom of both of those two cities if there's any humidity in the air.
Mm.
But if it's super dry all the way to San Antonio and to Austin, man, I can see satellites. It's the Milky Way is just as bright as it can be. It's mind-boggling how
Yeah.
much you can see out there when there's no light around you.
I remember when I was stationed out at Mountain Home in Idaho,
Hmm.
and the nearest big city is Boise, and I don't know what the population was, but it's not it's big for Idaho, but it's not really a big city. And
Right. It's probably what, 350, 400,000 people.
it's maybe, yeah. I always compared it maybe Waco size. I don't even know if it's that
Yeah.
big though, but it was
I
still like an
it's,
hour away.
yeah, it's crazy how much light those cities put out.
Yep.
And when you're talking about San Antonio and Austin, and the whole I-35 corridor
Hmm.
is just, crazy with the population. And I loved because it's not going to be mine for much longer. We are under contract to sell
Mm.
already. I anticipate that we'll close on this place. Not this coming weekend, but the following weekend.
Got you.
We're going to sign the papers, and it's not going to be ours anymore.
Where y'all moving to?
We moved to Waco
Oh,
a year ago.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
Yeah.
further south for some reason. That makes sense why you saw. That makes more sense why you saw SpaceX. I guess. I didn't realize you were in Waco. I thought you were somewhere near San Antonio.
Well, but the farm is actually the nearest city to me with real population TV stations
Mhm.
is San Angelo,
Got you. Okay.
and that's 45 minutes west.
Hmm.
Um, the farm is in Concho County, which is the third poorest county in Texas. When I was making, 100 grand a year, I was in the top 1% for the county.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Concho
Yeah.
sounds like an old Eastern,
Concho.
Clint Eastwood Western or something.
Right. Yeah. They should have filmed Rio Bravo or El Dorado in Concho County.
Man. How you doing, Brad?
All right, how y'all doing?
Doing good. How's
Doing
everybody?
good, man. It's good to see you, brother.
You got
Yeah.
Daniel and Jeff and Cody and Trenton. What's up, Trenton? I hadn't seen you in a while. Good to have y'all. Dennis was running.
Howdy, y'all.
Doing good. Doing really good.
It's doing good. Sorry, yeah, it has been a while. I've been back and forth with work and moving to Oklahoma.
Oh man.
Oh, I didn't know you moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I moved to Atoka.
Did you join the Oddfellows?
I did, and we opened a lodge in Durant as well.
Okay, but did you
Right
join?
on.
So did you join the one in Waxahachie?
I joined the one in Plano,
Okay.
like a month or two ago, and then that 7 of us from Durant went and joined in Plano,
Hmm.
114, and then they recently had I think it was Writer's Lungs. It was a fundraiser for a kid with lung cancer,
Okay.
and it was a cornhole tournament at the same time that Waxahachie had their Odd Fest. So we just kind of went through Plano and then went to Waxahachie and did the Odd Fest thing and got a tour of the lodge over there.
Okay. What is Oddfest?
It's kind of like what we would do for a Royal Arch retirement home thing. It's just kind of thing like that. They just have a bunch of booths set up, fundraisers, stuff like that to raise money. It's just their Odd Fellows Odd Fest thing.
Got you. So I'm curious then, how does your Oddfellow experience compare with your Masonic experience?
There's actually a lot of similarities. I don't know if you knew that. I think it was Albert Mackey was an Odd Fellow before he was a Mason.
I did not know that.
But so there's actually a lot of similarities, both in degree and some verbiage, and lodge setup as well. Like have a chaplain and stuff like that. I don't. Our first meeting is tomorrow, so I'll find out more after that.
I saw some of the pictures you shared, and a lot of them look almost like they were Masonic. Like they look very familiar to some of the Masonic imagery I've seen. Some of
the symbols, some of the artwork. Again, the lodge setup. They even have the Rebekahs, which is like the Eastern Star. They have an encampment, which is like the Templars. So there's a lot of similarities.
What's interesting is, I don't know if you did FFA or anything when you were in high school, but I didn't think anything of it at the time because I was like, what, 13, 14, 15, something like that. But looking back after I went through the Masonic degrees and stuff, the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, they have officers and they have meetings, and it's just like a Masonic Lodge meeting. And like
really?
the officers have their duties, and part of their job is to recount their duties during the opening and closing. And it's not the exact same names and everything, but it has a very, looking back, I was like, man, that, and I think I actually, don't quote me on this, but I think I did some research. It's been like 10 years ago. And if I remember correctly, a lot of the people that founded the FFA were Masons. And so they borrowed pretty heavily from not necessarily they even have symbolism in FFA. It's totally different symbolism. It's like farm related. But yeah, this represents this represents that. This is to teach us this teaches that. And so
their own curious system of morality illustrated by allegories and symbolism.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's actually really cool.
Yeah, if you ever get a hand, there's nothing secret about the FFA stuff. So if you ever get a chance to look up the FFA, I would call it the ritual or anything, but FFA opening and closing, their officers and stuff like that. Granted, this was in the 90s. Who knows what it's like now? But if you could find it, a lot of it looks, it's like, it has the same kind of cadence and everything like we have when we're doing our stuff. It's pretty interesting.
And I'd be interested to know if FFA is even still around, to tell you the honest truth. I remember when I was a kid, excuse me.
It's around.
The blue corduroy jackets with the big, patch on the back, kind of like biker gangs. And, and you weren't a cool kid if you weren't in FFA.
Yeah.
And I was not a cool kid.
They still have it. It's still around. I didn't have the corduroy. I had it wasn't a corduroy. We had like an option, and I got like the
the hide of the sacred Naga.
No, it was something else. It was something else. But it said grab your FFA on the back and all that cool stuff.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, definitely some kind of connection there. How's everything going over at Royce City, Brad?
It's going all right. We just had our DDGM visit, and we voted at the same day. We voted to raise our degree fees, and we raised our degree fees from, I think it was 135, 125, 125.
Okay.
to 300, 200, and 150.
Mm.
That went through with no objection. Everybody voted for that. And we voted to raise our dues from 100 to 200. And
Oh, nice.
that went through with four against it
Hmm.
and nine people for it. So
Well, congratulations.
yeah,
How did you convince everyone to increase the degree fees and everything? Was there any kind of education that took place, or is it just?
um, there was Zachary Haston has a some information around the state that says that if the lodges that raised their degree fees to like even lodges that had several degrees they were putting on every year,
Mm-hmm.
they raised them to $300 across the board, like 300 each degree,
Uh-huh.
and virtually no change at all. So
I see.
uh,
Virtually no change as far
and
as retention.
no drop in amount of degrees they're putting on
Hmm.
for
That's
three
really
hundred
hard to
dollar
argue with.
Yeah.
degree fees. Yeah,
Yeah. Can't hardly
because
argue with that.
yeah,
Well, I mean, you can try, but people.
yeah,
Yeah, but you're going to lose.
yeah,
Well, that's interesting.
and so yeah. He came out to our MWSA when I was the MWSA president last year,
Mm-hmm.
and we he basically kind of went through all of our lodges and gave us all of our information, and then kind of compared us to the state. And all of our lodges in our district are all below average from according across the state according to like dues and degree fees and things like that. So,
Interesting.
But
yeah.
how do you compare retention wise to the rest of the state?
So the one lodge that's doing really well in our district is East Trinity. It's in Rockwall, and they put on a pretty good amount of degrees, and they retain them very well. And if you've ever visited that lodge, it's a short, quick business meeting most of the time, like very structured, and then they close the business meeting and go hang out at a pizza place and fellowship.
Hmm.
And then they also meet every Monday. So they meet every Monday for practice, and then they do the same thing. They go fellowship after.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, I think that's the key to retention. Really, is the camaraderie and wanting involving your families and hanging out for the men fellowship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Healthy and Sarah Saul Masonic Lodge was several years ago, and it's not a healthy lodge now. But at the time, there was a brother that lived in town, that was in town, and he had a pub. He had a pub, and we would go there after our meetings and after our practice nights. Same thing, we would just go, and you didn't have to drink, you didn't want to, but a lot of people did, and we'd sit around and just shoot the bull, and we'd bring the new guys, the EAs, we'd bring the people that were interested in joining, and we really built a real tight camaraderie with each other. And the virus of unspecified origin came through, and the pub ended up having to close down, and that really just kind of cut that. But those brothers are still around. They're all still around. They're all still active, and there's definitely something to be said about the. If you just join and you never build a relationship with anybody, it's really easy just to get fed up and walk away. But
Right.
if you join and these people start involving you in things, not necessarily requiring anything out of you, just like, hey, come have fun with us, and start involving people, then you build those relationships, and you're not just going to want to just walk away. It's harder. It's hard because these are my friends. I want to support them. I want to be there for them. I want to help them out.
Yeah. Yeah. We're actually going to be putting on our first degree in 2 years. So that's coming up later this month.
Right on.
Nice.
So we haven't had a petition in over 2 years. So,
Man. EA degree?
yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah. We
exciting,
got like
man.
three guys that are kind of buzzing around like fruit flies kind of hanging around,
Hmm.
and want checking it out, just checking it out, and
Right.
got their interest in it. So, but we've been, active there for the last month. A lot of stuff going on around the lodge last month and this month. So,
Have they been visiting for a few months, or you said they've been
yeah,
kind of buzzing around? Like how long have they been visiting?
yeah. So one guy, the guy that we're doing the degree on, we actually voted on at the DDGM visit to receive the degrees. And he's been coming to all of our stated meetings to eat with us. He went to there's a one of the members has a daughter that's in the Rainbow Girls,
Hmm.
and she was getting installed as worthy advisor for her little chapter. And we went to go see her installation, and he showed up there. And then after we left there, we went to go visit a brother in the hospital, and he came with us there. And he went out shooting with us for my birthday. We went and shot some guns at the range and rented a little bay and stuff. And he came out, so he's been hanging around. Yeah,
Very cool,
That's
man.
very cool.
yeah. He was actually so the downstairs of the lodge building used to be the police station, and he was actually a police officer whenever that was the police station. Now it's a museum, but anyways, he's got some history with the building. He just never went upstairs.
Right on.
Yeah,
Well, that's exciting, man. I'm happy for y'all.
yeah.
I've found that when you have good leadership, you start seeing that, and then when you
Mhm.
have, I wouldn't say bad leadership, but just maybe not excite, there's no excitement, or maybe you're not really just trying a whole lot. That's when things kind of peter out. So you're definitely a natural leader, and you're doing good stuff at your lodge. So it only makes sense that you start to see these petitions after a while. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been working at it.
It
The
sounds like
DD
the work is paying off.
Yep.
yeah, the DDGM kind of got on to me a little bit. He looked at me. He goes, look, man. He goes, you did really good, but he goes, you're doing too much.
Hmm.
He goes, you really need to try to delegate a little bit more. Um, and so that's one thing that about being a leader is that I've been having a hard time getting people to even do anything. But they're coming around. They're
Yeah.
coming around.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, and sometimes you have to take things under your wings. But then, as things start growing and people start seeing, hey, you're serious, you're being for real, they'll start coming up with ideas. So we talked about this before, right? Like, hey,
hmm
I really think it'd be great if we did this. Well, then that's your opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna put you in charge of the committee for that,
yeah,
and I want you to head this. And the success of it lies on that brother now. So it gives them a
yeah,
little bit of ownership and takes a little bit off your plate too.
yeah, yeah. I had one guy gave me an idea about bringing Santa Claus up to the lodge or something and doing something for the Christmas parade or something. And I was like, hey, that's a great idea. Do you want to be in charge of that? He goes, yeah. I was like, great,
Nice
do
job,
it.
man. That's
Knock
good.
yourself out, brother. Make it happen.
I'm 100% behind you.
That is awesome. I'm glad you're doing that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had a neat experience this weekend as well. Because I was back home in my home district. The Camps and Sabo Lodge is a moon lodge, one of the few left in the state, and they had their meeting Saturday night and conferred a fellowcraft degree.
Mm, that's my favorite one.
As a courtesy to one of the other lodges within the district. So I got to take part of a little bit of that. I delivered the charge for the guy who received the degree, but the best part for me anyway was hearing the accents of the different members who are plural at San Saba, but are also members at Brady, where this kid is from. And so we got one guy that is born and bred right there in District 71. and it's a little bitty district, 3 whole lodges. Um, and he's from a little town called Pontotoc.
Hmm.
You know, the other guy who was worshipful master for most of that was raised again by a guy from another little town in the district called Voca, but he has a very different accent. He's not as I guess the correct word would be country. He's not quite as country as the dude from Pontotoc. But then the guy who was senior warden for the degree is, no kidding, a cop from New York City with, the thick, Bronx or Brooklyn or Queens. I don't know which accent it is, but it's, one of them New York City accents. And it was really fun for me anyway to be able to sit back and listen to all these dudes say all the right words, but in all the different accents, it comes across a little different.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, man. I had an amazing night at Lodge Saturday night.
That sounds real cool, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Nice. I like that. I like hearing stuff like that. Daniel, how you been, man? You been quiet? No dad jokes or anything so far.
First, I
Give
gotta
him
find the
time.
mute button. No, yeah, doing good, doing good. Brad, I had a question for you about raising your dues or the dues for
Yeah.
your lodge. Where does that put
Yeah.
y'all in average with your district? Does that put y'all a little above average or right on average? Or
We're probably the highest in the district now, but I think
okay,
East Trinity is where our DDGM is from, and he said they're going to try to raise theirs this year. They raised theirs 2 years ago to 150, and they're going to raise again. So like we haven't raised our dues in 13 years,
Wow.
so we
wow,
were way behind. If we would have raised it, 25 after a couple years, and then raise it another 25, and then another, every couple of years, raise it like $25, it wouldn't have been so bad, and we probably would have been better off financially too. But you know, it's there's another thing with our insurance, man, that's been a big deal. Because our insurance premium last year for the building and everything was $2,000, and then this year that same company quoted us $5,000.
What?
Yeah,
wow.
and so I started digging, and apparently, so the city owns the downstairs, and we own the upstairs. But insurance companies cannot insure half a building structure.
Hmm.
So the city is
Okay.
covering the structure of the building, all 5,000 square feet of it. And we were covering the structure of the building, all 5,000 square feet of it. And I was like, because the city manager is a member of the lodge. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, does the city cover the building? Because, like, maybe we don't have to cover it as well. We don't need double coverage on it.
Yeah.
And apparently, yeah, they're covering it too. So I was like, we dropped the structure coverage, and now we got liability and basically like renter's insurance, um, just covering the personal property, which still is a little bit more expensive than it was last year, but it's considerably less than $5,000.
Jeez.
So,
And
but yeah.
is there a mechanism by which the lodge and the city might be able to split the cost of complete coverage for both organizations?
Yeah, yeah, I think there's probably going to be some kind of negotiation with the city eventually on that, but we're just going to kind of let it ride for now.
Okay.
They're just covering it.
It would I mean, it makes sense to me for, especially, neither of you are for-profit organizations.
Yeah,
Uh, it does kind of make sense to me to anyway figure out wherever you can how to minimize expenses between the two. And if you guys can cooperate on that, that might turn into a good deal for both of y'all. where you can save the city some money, city saves you some money, everybody
Yeah.
walks away happy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some stuff y'all were talking about last week after the show when y'all were talking about your building and being a historical building. Are you trying to get it registered as a historical building or whatever?
So I
Because-
can't bring that up just yet,
Yeah.
especially because I'm no longer a member there. I'm
Right.
only a member at my home lodge in Brady, which
Right.
also qualifies as a
Yeah.
historical building.
Yeah.
But when we get to the point where we're having that discussion, I know I'm going to get some pushback on that
Yeah.
because the historical commission has a pretty cruddy track record as far as helping out with that kind of stuff. In order to get them to kick in for anything, obviously you have to have matching funds. And while I understand that Grand Lodge can help with matching funds, and so say the lodge is able to kick in $20,000, and then Grand Lodge is able to kick in that same 20 grand. Well, now we can hit the historical commission for 40. That's trying to get the lodge to pry open the wallet and say they'll put anything into the building is tricky.
Yeah.
And I say that just based on what I know of the guys who have been there forever. Now, when some of our older members who will no longer be in positions of leadership, well, then maybe we can have a different discussion. But at the current moment, that's going to be a real hard no on the part of the lodge. Just because they don't want to deal with the historical commission. I have family that have historically significant buildings, and when they've been approached by the state historical commission to, hey, we'd really like to designate your place as a historic building. They're like, well, what are you going to do for me? Well, we'll match funds for you. And they're like, no, it's going to take more than that because you guys have such stringent requirements on what we can and cannot do to the building. Once we get it designated as a historical building, then we run into a situation where in order to get the work done that we would like to do, we have to jump through all of your hoops in addition to jumping through all of our own hoops. And it makes the process that much more difficult.
Yeah. We did it a few years ago. Now, I'm sure there's a difference. Like, I know with historical buildings, there's a lot of... there's one way you can go, and it's a whole lot of like red tape you have to jump through if you don't do anything with your building. And there's another... Basically, long story short, Grandview, on its 150-year anniversary, we made ourselves we had a historical marker put up, like a sign. And that was a pretty big deal. But it's not a historical building. I think it's just it's just for the organization because the organization...
Right, just a historical site.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily I don't know, because the lodge hasn't been there 150 years, but the lodge has been in town as an organization for 150 years. So that's how we got our marker, I believe. I have to check it out next time. But that was, that was like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. But right. we went that route. So we got like the Texas, like the the black historical marker out in front of the lodge. But I know there's like houses and stuff that are historical, and you have to go through a whole bunch of red tape before you do anything at all because it's the building itself is historical.
If you want to rewire in order to put up new lighting, the new lighting has to conform to the era of the house when it was built. So it's Edison lamps rather than LEDs, no fluorescent bulbs, period. That kind of thing. It's small little nitpicky things that the historical commission wants to do to ensure that the place maintains its historical look.
Mm-hmm.
without making any real concessions to what the homeowner wants.
Yeah.
So if we do that with a business building, how are we gonna make our radio station downstairs work if we designate the entire building as a historical building?
Exactly.
So it's gonna be fun trying to figure that one out.
Yep.
Yeah, our lodge is a historical building, and we went through the thing trying to figure out how to get the windows replaced in the front because they were the wood, the they were 100-year-old windows, and at first they were trying to tell us that we had to put the exact windows in, which ended up being like like $1,500, $2,000 per window.
Yikes.
And it was like, yeah, man, I don't know if we'll ever get that done. Maybe we'll try to just do it ourselves. But then we went around and looked at some of the other historical buildings in town and took pictures of the windows, and they had the vinyl windows in those buildings.
And the double pane windows and stuff like that.
I was like, well, hey, these historical buildings have upgraded windows. Why can't we do it? So we were just matching the rest of the city, so they allowed us to put vinyl windows in.
Nice.
I mean, they look almost identical, really. I mean, but you can't really tell that much. I mean, they are different, but you can't really hardly tell.
Well, and they're doing such good things with those vinyl windows now that they really can make them look like, they're not going to make them look weathered, but they are going to look like wood from 50 feet away.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't make out your name, but thanks for the $2. Appreciate that. It goes a long way. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I don't know the advantages or disadvantage. Well, I'll rephrase that. I don't know the advantages of making, like, why you want to make their building historical, considering. I don't know what the advantages are, but I know there's a whole lot of red tape. Like if you don't do anything for that, so, yeah. But definitely a marker. That's definitely a cool thing to do if you can do that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know Go ahead.
There's a difference between, I know some cities have what's called a preservation district versus a historical district. And a preservation district they want to preserve what's there, but it's not as strict as a historical district. Historical is like, you have to do these paint colors. You have to do, like to Byron's point, you have to do the light fixtures a certain way. It has to be what was in the building when it was built, right? Versus, I want to update something and I'm going to put this type of thing in it. The preservation district, and again, that a lot of times depends on your city too. The preservation district is more like, we want the exterior to look this certain way, and we want it to have certain aspects so that way it stays the historical look, but you can update the paint. You have other options. You basically, you can't like raise the roof line and things like that, but you can do more on the interior than the exterior. So
that's pretty cool. That's something worth looking in. Yeah.
If the city has a preservation fund for buildings, for the older buildings versus a historical designation.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Oh, that's absolutely worth looking into.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Hey, Brad's Union has a similar deal with downtown Bryan. We were looking at doing that years ago, getting a historical marker put on the building, and then we looked at like get a historical designation. And as you mentioned, Byron, we were kind of like, nah, we don't want to have that because they're going to have like stringent requirements on what we can and can't do with it and everything. Downtown Bryan Association that's a historical preservation society, if you will, in that area. They worked with us quite a bit. They were more along the lines of, hey, just kind of keep it similar to what it is and what it historically looked like. They were just wanting us to do something, because it was getting to be the well, not getting it was the eyesore on the
Right.
block in the entire area because we had not done anything. And man, that's a doing we didn't do either thing because it just caused so much division in with putting a historical marker on the building just caused such a division in the lodge. I mean, I had to deal with it a little bit when I was master, and it just kept getting brought up occasionally every now and then. But I don't know if they're gonna do anything with it eventually because you just got one or two people that have the biggest mouth in there that just want to say, they're going to do this to us, they're going to do that to us, and it just causes a lot of problems. But I mean, that's something we were looking into. But yeah, there are plenty of options there for that,
Hmm.
for sure. Definitely, if it's worth your while, look into it. Definitely is.
Speaking of Scott, how you been, man?
Busy, real busy.
Oh yeah, good busy
Yeah,
or
we just got well, I just got back from my in-laws, and I've dropped off my wife there, and she is going to be on the road with them for the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. So I'm at home with the dog and the cats.
wow.
It's just me. Yeah,
Sounds
but
rough, man.
busy.
Oh, I see the cat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, right behind
there he is.
you.
Nice.
Yeah, stated meeting tomorrow night. So anyway, but yeah, that's about. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I gotta.
Yeah, that's about what's been going on with me, man.
It's good. Stay out of trouble at least. That's always good. Where's your in-laws live at?
They live in Franklin,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, my father-in-law's a past master of Patrick Lodge 359 in Franklin.
Hmm.
So, and
So,
I'm a member there as well too. I don't go up there as much as I'd like to because of the distance, and I'm busy. The only time I get to go up there is on Sundays. However, I did go. Brother Olivier and I went this last Tuesday, and the district instructor presented me my A certificate renewal.
congratulations, man.
Yeah, so I got it for another 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good. See everybody too.
Yeah, if I turn mine in again, I get it for what is it like? If you do it for 3 years, then you're good for 3 years.
I think if you start out, um, you do it once, then it's for 1 year, and then you do it again, and then it's another year,
Hmm.
and then after that, I think once you renew it again, then it's good for 3 years.
Yeah.
It starts doing it as 3 years. I try and go every year just to make sure that I stay on top of, uh, just make sure that I'm up to date on everything so I don't lose it.
Yeah. That
So I
makes
try and
sense.
do that as much as I can.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll have to, because we got Cody Stewart, as our fan club over here. We gotta go study with him and make sure we take a test with him. So
We got it. Yeah, we got to all get our A certificates in this group if we want to keep them showing up.
I
yeah,
have yet to go to one of his forums. I've been wanting to. I used to go to Rumsey's all the time. I mean, hell, I would get in a truck and drive to Palestine. It was just like 2.5 hours from here. Drive up to Marlin or drive up to Waco, just to see his forums because they were so darn good.
Hmm.
You learned so much when you went to them.
Yeah,
They
Rumsey
were excellent.
Rumsey has like anytime you're with Rumsey, you learn something, right? So he's very knowledgeable. Something I really
Hmm.
like about uh, Brother Stewart is he points out before anyone turns in their work, like, hey, basically, the gist of it is, if it's obvious you don't know it, you're not going to get a certificate. And I have been to forums, not necessarily Rumsey or Brother Stewart or anything like that, where I have seen people, and you're like, how do they get a certificate, right? And so, to his credit, that's what I really like about going to Cody's forums, is that he just lays it out right off the bat. Like, if it's, he didn't give us that number or anything, but he also is like, if it becomes pretty obvious you don't know it, you need to pour yourself out. If you're slowing other people down, basically, it's probably time to pour yourself out, that kind of thing. And I really respect that, because just going to a forum, and again, this isn't Right Worshipful Rumsey, and it's not a reflection on him or Brother Stewart or anything like that. But I have been to other forums before, and it's really refreshing to see. Here's the standard, and if you don't meet the standard, regardless if you're here or not, regardless of what you're trying for, you don't necessarily get a certificate, and that's good, because when things are easy to get, they lose value. So I really like that.
Well, it's like that whole participation trophy thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to disagree with that statement. If you're there to try and earn a certificate, then by God, you had better earn it.
Yep.
It's not just going to be given to you because you show up.
And I've never been to one of Right Worshipful's Rumsey's forums where it didn't seem like everybody already knew it. So I think they already knew, like, hey, if you're going to one of Rumsey's, you need to know it. But Right Worshipful Stewart he definitely pointed out the first forum I went to, and I'd never heard that before, and so it meant a lot to me, because, like I said, I had been to other forums, and I'm not naming who's aware or anything like that, where like they needed like prompting a lot, and it's kind of weird, right? It kind of slows everything down. So it's definitely good.
Something that I said that night when I got it, I told everybody, I said, look, I can pretty much tell you any part of the lecture, any part of a degree. I can say pretty much any speaking part. But what I think Texas Masons need more of, and Texas Masonry needs more of, is not so much people that are good at parroting words, but it's important that they know what they're saying behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important than me having that certificate. I mean, yeah, it's something I earned, but I think that's more important, knowing what you're saying and actually taking the initiative to read about what you're saying.
Yeah.
There needs to be, basically, in so many words, there needs to be more reading Masons, I believe.
I agree.
Or learning Masons, rather than just speaking Masons. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And it's something I've always said. It's if you're going to do a part, especially in a degree, or even if you're just stepping in as an officer, it's important to know the words. It's important to have it down as best you can. Now, does it mean you have to deliver it perfectly? No. And I think I've never seen anyone do anything all the way through perfectly. But it's like almost like a play, in that if you miss a word or something, you just move forward. Because this candidate, he didn't know any different. But when you back up to say I missed a paragraph, so I'll back up to do the paragraph over, that's more for the people in the audience than the candidate himself, right? Because he didn't know you missed it. But yeah, but to your point, I've known several Masons who they have A certificates, but they don't know much about Freemasonry. If that makes sense, like you could learn all of the work. If you had like a perfect memory, photographic memory, and you remembered every word, every punctuation, all the long form, everything that there is to learn, you can still be a terrible Mason. You just have really good memory. Because if you haven't studied what you learned, like you're talking about, if you haven't internalized anything, if you haven't reflected and allowed that to change you as a person or lead you down rabbit holes by which you grow, then I mean, you do good degrees possibly, but that doesn't mean you're a very good Mason. You can still be a terrible person. It's all about taking the time to research and study, to learn, and taking time to let that affect you as a person, because it's when you reflect, when you internalize, and when you weigh what you've learned against your previous conceptions, and allow those to kind of work themselves out into something new. That's how you grow. That's how Freemasonry changes you. And even if you just memorize it perfectly, even if you have if you confer the best degrees in the entire state, that's well and good. But if Freemasonry isn't, if you're not allowing that to change you, if you're not allowing that to actually permeate into who you are, then it's all for naught. So I agree. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Something that I'll say too, I got inspired to really get into that stuff whenever um, I visited San Marcos Lodge and I witnessed a couple degrees there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that stuck out with me there is, and this is, I'm going to go back to in a second. The thing that stuck out to me there was when they were delivering the degree, um, even if there were at the time, yeah, I was pretty proficient in ritual and everything. I could tell a few minor mistakes were being made in the words.
Mm-hmm.
However, the great thing that they had going for them was the energy in the room was such that they kept going, and
Mm-hmm.
it was still perfect. The master knew that he missed a word or something, but it just kept going. It didn't harp on he didn't harp on just like, oh no, I messed that up. It kept going, and that went with everyone else too. Uh the I think the environment that they had there uh really helps with that too, because I don't know if you've ever been there or not or seen their lodge.
Not
It's
yet.
yeah, you need to go see it sometime. It's one of the most relaxing atmospheres that I've ever been to inside of a lodge ever. When you go in there and you see it, you're just it's awesome. And I think having that really helps it too, because if you're in a room full of bright lights, bright fluorescent lights and everything, you're just you just feel like you're walking on pins and needles.
Mm-hmm.
Versus that one, you're just like, oh wow, this is yeah, I messed up here, but I'm able to just keep going and I still feel good about it.
Yeah.
That was very, very good. That one of the things that I noticed about it. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting. One of the interesting things you said is when you have it like really fluorescent, you get lost. It's more stressful. Well, of course, it's more stressful because it's like an office environment. It's like you're in an office space, right? Um, and also, if you have a lodge where maybe the paint's not looking as good as it should, or the ceiling tiles aren't looking as good as it should, and you don't have the money for whatever reason to fix it, turning down your lights makes a big difference. It hides those imperfections, while at the same time, I've always said during a degree, a lodge looks the most impressive when the lights are off.
Yeah,
and
it
and
really does.
and the fact that we feel like we have to have like this bright fluorescent, um, just the fluorescence just attacking, like removing every shadow there is shameful. It's very unfortunate, but yeah, I thoroughly agree that the work we're conferring during a degree is about impact. It's meant to change this
Yeah.
person's life, and forgetting an and or not putting a the where we're supposed to isn't going to negatively impact. Now, should we strive to do our best? Of course, I'm not saying don't strive to do our best, but it's just like a play. If you're giving a play, and you are live in front of an audience, if you miss a word or a small part of your line, you just roll with it. And if you miss a line that leads into a cue, the next actor should just pick up, hey, he forgot that, and just launch right into it. Why? Because we have an audience, and we're trying to convey the message or the script or however you want to interpret that of the play. That's what the people are here for this performance. And to stop the play to say, hey, you missed a line or something like that, isn't something you do, or it's not something you should do for a good play. And granted, it's not a play, it's a rite of passage, but it's the same concept. We shouldn't stop what we're doing and just because we're missing a word or two. We should still move forward and try to do the best we can to get the best experience for that candidate.
Well, and not only just, stopping the play, but, to have the, for lack of a better phrase, peanut gallery go, hey, you missed this.
Yeah.
Because I know we've all been there to that degree where somebody on the sidelines is constantly correcting whoever is delivering the lines. And while I appreciate the effort and the knowledge that these people are trying to share, it does significantly detract from the initiate or the candidate or the brother's experience.
Yeah. Well, a lot of plays they'll have a prompter, and it's a designated person, and they'll look at them if they need a prompt. But it's a joke whenever you have a play and they're like line, right? It's a joke because that's indicating a crappy play. It's the same thing with a lodge. If you're having to look, line, asking for the next thing, or if you got 3 or 4 people prompting you, those are all characteristics of a bad presentation, of a bad experience. So
we actually have that discussion before the degree starts. Before that gavel drops, the master talks to the lodge and says, this is a degree. No one is to speak during this degree. I have a prompt. That's my prompter. Mm-hmm. If I look to that person, that is the only person that's supposed to prompt me.
Yep.
Otherwise, don't say a word.
Yep. And
then we move on from that. And we have beautiful degrees in Goliad. So I think that there's a lot of validity to what you're saying there, as well as dimming the lights. You see this picture right here? That's in Grand Lodge. Most of y'all already know that. That room is just dark. The only light that comes in is from this stained glass, and it's just majestic. If there's a bunch of fluorescent lighting in there, it wouldn't be the same.
No,
but
it would not.
The way that is right there, I actually go in there for peacefulness and meditation. That's my calm in the storm when I go to Grand Lodge, is right there. And I go there every year and just sit and meditate on things when I go to Grand Lodge every year.
How's it done in Texas? Yeah, I was curious how it's done in Texas. Do you keep the lesser lights lit or turned on during all your meetings and degree work?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So then you can dim the lights and it makes a really nice ambiance.
Yeah, we keep them plugged in.
Oh, you plug yours in. Okay.
Some of the more classy lodges. Some of the more classy lodges have candles. I was looking.
Yeah, but this is Texas, so I don't know how many classy lodges there are.
Yeah, candles catch on fire when you plug them in.
Right.
We use they look like candles, but they're filled with oil, and you can light them, which are even more dangerous. During my initiation, I knocked one over when I was blindfolded. So
oh man,
that made it memorable.
I want to know where that room is, Dennis, because I haven't seen that room at Grand Lodge.
Between the secretary's office and the library museum.
Okay.
Yes.
You wouldn't. I've gone to Grand Lodge many times until Dennis showed me that room. I just assumed, because the way it is, you got the doors and then there's a wall right behind it, and you just assume it's like a small little like a little
Yeah.
nook. But then you walk around the wall, and this is where
Yes.
that's at that he's showing. So it's like you got the doors and they're glass doors, and there's a wall.
There's
But
a Bible there too, right?
yeah, I think so. And then
Yeah, the Bible's in the front part, and some people just stop there.
yeah.
You have to go around to the back part to see the.
It looks non-assuming as you walk by. It's like, oh, there's just a little tiny room. But if, like you're saying, like if you go in and then walk around the Bible, walk around that little wall, there's a whole other section back there with this stained glass, and it's beautiful. And that's from the old Grand Lodge in Houston, isn't it?
Yes, that's the ceiling of the old Grand Lodge in Houston. They brought it over and hung it up there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's a shame they couldn't incorporate it into the main auditorium somehow. Or the
Wait
lobby.
till you see it in person. It's magnificent. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
you need to
looking
see
for-
it in person.
Yeah, I picked that one real quick just to get y'all's attention. I was looking for a picture of my lodge in Goliad, and I'm going to show two pictures. Y'all can keep talking. I'm gonna drag a couple of them up here, and I'm going to show y'all
Nice.
two different pictures, so you'll have a difference of opinion or you'll have a different reference of dimmed lights and bright lights. So give me just a minute, and you can tell me which one you like better. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to find them real quick.
Right on.
Yeah.
So speaking of Grand Lodge, they had the trustee meeting at the TMRC on Friday, and I've never I've never been able to even see it on Zoom or anything, but I was actually able to go. I took the day off work and went out there and
Good.
got to sit right at the table and listen to them kind of give each officer kind of gave like his report of what's going on and different things, and that they need. It was their business meeting basically. They had an executive meeting after, which I don't know how long that lasted, but the actual business meeting of the trustee meeting lasted almost 5 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a quarterly meeting that they have, and last year they wouldn't give us the dates on when they were going to have those. This year they made them available to everybody, and the reason they didn't give the dates is because the trustees meeting is open to the Grand West, so anybody can come to a trustees meeting. In fact, the first one this year, people were so glad that they had that opportunity. They had to take it into the auditorium. They couldn't have it in the office like they usually do. And so, but it's always open to all the Master Masons of Texas. So yeah, that's awesome that you went for sure.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that in there so that everybody knew that they could go too. So go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was really awesome because even though it was that long, we did stop for lunch. But then, each officer really worked well together. There was no contention. There was no arguments. It was like very cordial back and forth. There was banter in there, joking, laughing. The overall mood of the room was light, and it really was cool, and it was cool to experience. It was just like a lodge meeting, only on a grander scale. Grand Lodge. But yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a little bit long, but yeah, it was good.
That sounds great. So impressions from that meeting. How are we looking on our grand line?
Well, they actually, like I said, they all worked really well together. They talked about the budget. There was some budget items. They didn't go into detail on the budget because the chairman of the budget committee, he wanted to tweak the numbers a little bit from what they were going to talk about that day and give a final like budget approval in December or something like that before Grand Lodge. So they're going to have another one in December somewhere, and I think that one might be a closed meeting. But then they'll have the one at Grand Lodge again next year that everybody can watch.
Right on.
Well,
Sounds great.
And it's good that you mentioned the budget, because yes, that is part of the trustees meeting, but even more important, the budget is read at Grand Lodge. So when after the election of the junior warden and all that, well, after the election of junior warden, most people vacate and they don't stick around for the last committee reports like the budget and stuff like that. It's all of our responsibility to stay. You know, I know that everybody's rushing to get home. It's been a long weekend. Just kind of ants in the pants kind of feeling, trying to get out of there. But, you know, we really need to stick around. And like this year, we have, we have all of our grand line that's going to be coming in. We've got the grand junior wardens that'll be voted on. And then we've got the home and school that'll be voted on, the library and museum that'll be voted on, committee on work that'll be voted on, there was something else. What was it? Damn it.
The museum.
Damn it to hell. I said the museum, but the grand secretary will be voted on. And I'm going to tell you, all of those lower lines. Now, we're not certain exactly what's going to happen on the upper echelons and things, but it's already been said that all the lower stuff is going to be contested. So there's going to be nominations from the floor on every one of them, nice. Even if people are capable.
Just so excited to see all this crap starting again. I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
Even with good, I'm glad you stated that, because I do like democracy. However, you know, this is for a different reason, and the sad thing is it's like a hostile take back. Mm-hmm. And instead of it coming to the trustees meetings and realizing that we have something pretty damn good happening right now in Texas.
Yep.
Instead of coming and seeing that like Brad did as a first-time visitor to a trustees meeting, that's awesome that was the impression you got, because that's the way it should be. We should be best working and best agreeing, and that's awesome. The Grand Lodge is showing that. Whereas, you know, we get all these contestations and then, you know, what's going to happen? It's going to be a bunch of garbage, as it has been in the past. So we need brothers to not only show up again, because there are going to be contested votes, but we need them to stay for all of the voting that's going to take place, and to listen to how the Grand Lodge is actually doing. I mean, part of the reason why they save some of those committee reports is to the end is because they know everybody's leaving. Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that not only is our voice being heard, but we are being responsible with that voice, that we actually care and we're educating ourselves and we're being a part of this process, and not just going in for the controversy and wanting to have the Great Divide. I don't want to have the Great Divide. I want our Grand Lodge to be, you know, cohesive and working together. I don't want to have for lack of better terms, a Democrat and Republican style Grand Lodge. You know, I want to have a Grand Lodge that's like this. So it's up to us to, you know, it's great to have our voice, But unless we are present in every part that we can be present in, and not necessarily, you know, in person, but present. So they know our presence is always there. They know that we're always watching. They know that we care. They know that we are involved in our Freemasonry. Then, you know, that's what we need to get really focused on. We need to get honed in on that this year, I think.
Yeah. I don't mind multiple candidates as long as it's
For the right reasons.
do what?
For the right reasons.
For the right reasons, yeah. As long as it's for the right reasons, and I know that they're coming from a good place because they believe they can. And I don't know. Maybe everyone does believe that, but I don't think so. I think it's like you're saying. It's more of a attempt at a hostile. It's not a hostile takeover. It's an attempt at a hostile take back, and we have to be on guard for that. And I'm not. That's not what I want to see when I go to Grand Lodge. That's not the kind of. I don't mind healthy competition among brethren who feel like they can best serve and best agree, and bring Texas Masonry forward. But I do have an issue with people doing it just to be spiteful or just to keep other people out of power because they don't like their mentality. That's juvenile. And
yes,
it's sad how sometimes the oldest brethren are the most juvenile, but it is what it is.
Well, I've seen it both ways, but yeah, I mean it's
I have to
right
agree.
now. Right now, that's what we're looking at.
No.
It's almost like there's been times when I've seen it to where, remember in high school or in middle school when, you know, there was a fight and everybody would, oh, there's going to be a fight, meet him at the flagpole, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's all hyped up and doing all this kind of stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've seen that in my Grand Lodge and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was there for a reason. I'm very focused on what I believe in doing the right thing. But there were some people that were there just for the fight. And I'm not about that. I don't enjoy that.
Well, it's not at all what we're supposed to be about.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not what we're supposed to be about.
We got our house reserved.
Aha! Right on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where y'all
Yeah.
staying at?
Close to it's in downtown, but close to the silos.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
So you can do a little
Walking-
shopping.
Yeah. Nah. Walking
Yeah.
distance to the backyard.
There you go. Even
Oh,
better.
that's even better. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I didn't go this last year. I missed out on it, but I want to definitely go this year. There was something
Good.
going on, and I just, by the time I got done with it, I was so exhausted. I just said, yeah, the hell, I'm just going to go. But yeah, I missed out.
Yes, you did. But really, we really need to make sure that we have the same type of presence this year that we did that year, last year.
Yeah.
And if for no other reason but to show people that we're serious.
Yeah.
I was on a call earlier before coming on here, and you know, we were talking about all the places that we visit around the nation, and the discussions that are being had around the nation on about Texas. You know, we've mentioned this a couple of times on our show that, you know, we never thought that we would be the one everybody be talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what happened last year made profound changes around the country. And make no mistake, it did. There are Grand Lodges that have changed their laws so that it would prevent anything like that from happening in their area, and not to prevent a change by a vote of the West or whatever, but to prevent someone from being able to be in that position to be voted in as Grand Master, doing some of the stupid stuff that was going on. But anyways, the consensus wasn't that everybody was as focused on what happened last year for what happened last year, but really there's a huge focus on what's happening now and what's going to happen this year. They're more interested in this year than last year, because last year will only be a schism unless we come back and we're very focused and serious about this year and showing that we care about where we're going, and not just trying to be not just trying to create division within the fraternity.
Well, this year will determine, was last year an abnormality, or is this the direction Texas wants to take its Freemasonry? Right?
Yep.
And so that's why it's so important that we show up. All of us, we need to, everyone listening, everyone here in the inner circle, need to be sure we get as many brothers from our lodge to come with us to Waco. Because we have to say, look, this wasn't an accident last year. We showed up in numbers because this is what we believed in, and we're here to reinforce that. Make no mistake, because there are people that are banking on everyone sitting on their laurels and not coming again like they did last year, so they can start their bullshit again.
You need to give me the ability to show my screen.
Okay. One second. Try now.
Let's see here. I don't see the button at the top like I used to.
It's on the bottom for me since they updated everything.
Is it?
Kind of in the middle.
There we go. Share. Oh, I need to pull it up on my screen first. I'm going to show you all my junk. Oh my gosh.
Don't show us that.
Whoa. I don't want to see all your junk.
Yeah, it's not that kind of show, man.
Hey, this was a PG family friendly show.
Yeah,
I
come
know.
on, man.
Are y'all seeing my screen?
Yes, we are.
Just saw a bloody hand.
Oh, it was a hand.
That I was gonna say that wasn't a hand. Okay, so take a look at this view right here. Y'all see that?
Hang on.
Yeah, your camera roll.
You can't see it?
I see your camera roll.
Yeah, we see your camera roll, but not the enlarged picture of the one you selected.
Well, that sucks. Now you're seeing all kinds of goofy pictures.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you see all your pictures.
Awesome. Damn it. Okay, we're gonna try this another way because I don't want you to see all the junk in my trunk.
We appreciate that.
So we're gonna stop sharing that. And here I'm gonna update some backgrounds real quick. It'll probably be better.
Yeah, that's probably easiest.
Yeah, let me get to the right spot again now. Y'all go ahead and keep talking. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have butt in so much on that last one, really.
No, it's what we're here for, man. All of us are here to talk.
Oh, yeah.
So we went to Masonic Family Day. We had a fundraiser out there. This year there wasn't as well attended as last year. And a lot of the food vendors didn't do as good as they did the last year as they did this year. I think it's just been kind of an off year financially for a lot of people.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Oh, this year was not as good as last year?
No.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry I couldn't make it.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, because we know you would have put a dent in the food vendors.
I damn sure would have.
Dennis can put it away if he wants to.
I can. That's a fact. I'm a good Mason.
All right. I got to step away for a moment, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
No problem. What's that, Dennis?
Okay.
What you got back there?
We've
That's
got
that's Goliad number 94.
Nice. Sorry, Brad. What were we saying?
I was going to say that we have Cody, right worshipful Cody Stewart is coming to our lodge for our November stated meeting.
Cool.
He's got a small program that explains what the Committee on Work does.
Nice.
For the Grand Lodge and for lodges.
We
or
need
for
that.
Masons.
Yeah, that's good.
And so he put together a small program. And he asked me if he can come. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So he's coming November stated meeting to our speak for us.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
Cody
we
has to
need
come to the
that.
lodge, the answer is yes, you can, absolutely. Because he's always got something good.
Yep.
Love
And
it.
we got too many people that believe that the Committee on Work is the end all say all of our ritual when they're not. So I know I've got a beautiful lodge. So that's my lodge.
Thanks for saying that, Dennis, so I didn't have to.
What?
About the Committee on Work.
Oh, I'll be happy to say it all day long, man. So let me try and get myself out of here again like I did before. I don't know how I did.
I like those floors, man. Those are nice.
I'm hurting myself. Now that's the difference right there in
Lights
lighting
off.
versus dimmed.
Cool.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Jeff,
floors
see
are
our
not-
see our fancy candles, Jeff.
yeah. Yeah, our fancy candles. And I tell you what, man, I've told everybody that's them lit up
Mhm.
with the
that a
square and
lamp?
compass in it. Yes, it's a lamp. Who asked
Right.
that?
Rub
Who was
your lamp.
Who was rude enough to ask if that was a lamp?
No, I was talking about Scott was holding up a lamp.
Oh, that's an incense burner.
Yeah, this is an incense burner.
In some places they'll have they'll have three brass chains that go to those, and it'll actually be carried around the room, and it's to create that ambiance. It's kind of like if you've ever seen the Catholic priests walk in. If you hadn't seen it, look up a documentary, because they walk in and they do the. I'm gonna do this in front of myself. They do that with the incense holder. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me.
Thurible.
What's yes.
Thurple?
And so they do that, and in entrance to the altar. And what's interesting is that actually represents cleansing by fire.
Mm.
But there's other orders and stuff that'll use that walking around an altar or whatever, and it's cleansing the atmosphere, the whole lodge by fire, or cleansing the area by fire.
Imagine if you had a lodge and it was dimly lit like that, and before anyone even goes in, before you even start the meeting, someone comes in and has an incense and goes around and just kind of makes a few circumambulations, and then everyone
That's your job, huh?
and then
No,
everybody-
really,
Nice.
I do that.
Oh, you do? I like that.
Yeah, well, what we do is I have a couple like sticks that I use. I don't really use that one anymore because it's more like an antique, and it smogs like crazy. But it is cool. But anyway, what I'll do is I got a couple incense sticks, and I'll walk around before anybody gets there. I'll walk around the lodge room a few times, kind of get it in there, and then I'll put it out. And then we have a small electronic one down by our altar, And what it does, it's smokeless. So you just put the resin pieces in there, and it heats it up. So there's no smoke.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we do that so then nobody will, get incensed over smoke being in the room.
So you just put
And
regular resin in it? Just normal?
Highly.
yes, what it is, like we use frankincense resin and also white copal resin. White copal resin puts a little bit like a little sweeter touch to it. Uh, the frankincense is, as it is, earthy and everything. Um, there's a certain setting on it that you have. I tend to keep it on the light setting because if you heat it up too quick, it'll kind of it can get a little too strong too quick. So I usually keep it on the lighter side, and I'll close the doors, and in about 30 minutes or so, you're good to go. And sometimes if I need to, sometimes during a meeting, if it starts getting a little too bad, I'll just go over there and unplug it or turn it off. And it works out pretty good.
I like that. If it's smokeless, then no one can complain. Oh, it's just killing my asthma.
Yeah. Again, I got
allergies.
the idea from San Marcos. The same pot they use. That's where I got it. I got the idea to buy it.
They use a smokeless one there too.
Mhm.
Man,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to find one of those.
Well, that's good. And then, some people may think that's just the way the lodge smells. And because there's
I'll be
no
right
smoke,
back.
there's no smoke, there's no nothing to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Well, a lot
that's
of
the way we
lodges
smell, man.
A lot of lodges would benefit from.
Tell me. Oh
like
my
if
god.
anyone wants to complain about incense, but you don't complain about the old foot smell, then I'd rather have a little incense agitating my.
That's
nose a
the
little
one
bit.
thing. That's the one thing I love the most about our floor.
Golden
What is-
lotus. I'm gonna pull-
This is a backup. Yeah, this is a backup one that I have.
Nice.
Yeah, I forgot I had it.
Yeah, that is way cool.
And then comes in a little case. Now,
Is it the bronze golden lotus? No, that can't be it because that's not electric. Sorry if I interrupted you. I didn't mean to.
Oh yes.
So-
You did.
it has there we go. It has a little bowl that you set on that heating element right there. And then it's like a foil bowl. Here's the resin.
No, that looks just too cool.
Yeah.
That looks like some resin I've seen in my lifetime.
I was gonna think-
Whoa. We're not talking about that here.
It's not Gen X resin.
I was gonna say my resin was black though because resin wasn't. Yeah,
The kind we had at the Tool concert, huh?
Man, we eat
Yes,
before and
the kind
after.
you
We eat
kind you
before
had
and
to
after our
scrape
lodge,
to
man.
find.
Yeah. But it sits here, it is right here. Put it in there, and then it has this control dial right here.
Very
And you
cool.
turn it on or off, and then you just put the little deal on top of it, and it sits, and there's no smoke to it at all.
Dude,
About
I'm gonna have to
75
send me
bucks.
a picture of that box because I'm gonna have to get that for my wife for Christmas.
Here's a
You
link right here.
should love
I'll post
that.
it. There's a link in chat.
Yeah, that's it right there. Now it's
I'm
not cheap
old.
now.
I need pictures.
There's a picture.
Wait a minute. You're old? You better shut your mouth, young man.
What is it? $200-$300?
75.
No, it's like I got this it was like maybe 70 or 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad
Dennis,
at
if
all.
you send me 200, I'll buy it for you and ship it to you.
Yeah,
Now there's Gen X.
it's
There's
75 on
Gen
this
X.
website.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna crank this bad boy on right now.
Nice.
Do you have to buy specific that isn't like any incense I've seen before. Is there you have to buy specific types for it? Of incense? Like is it
No, you just get I get the resin pieces. It's really it's really you can get them pretty much anywhere. I get them online. If I'm down in Galveston, I'll stop by brother Clyde Wood's shop. He owns the witchery down there on the Strand.
Mm.
So you can
Oh,
just go
cool.
in there and pick them up. And he usually, if we're running low, he'll ship me he sent me like a bag of them a while back. I said, hey, I need some. It's going to be a while before I get down there again. And he just sent a whole bag of them.
That's cool.
Nice.
So yeah, you can pretty much put anything else on there. Like if you have a oil that you want to use, you can put that like in a little dish and put it on there.
Hmm.
Same
Yeah, kind
thing.
of like melting chocolate. Yeah, you just put it in there and it.
Right. Looks to me like the only thing that's not going to work in there is the old style, okay, dating myself somewhat, but the incense sticks or cones,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we used to use when I was, in my teens and 20s.
Right.
Those aren't going to work in there, but the resins and the oils should work just fine.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Man, I hope I
it
got
works really
Christmas
well.
planned. I'm husband of the year, man.
Yeah. And it's really good. You use it. We use it in our degrees. We'll use it sometimes for stated if we want to, just occasionally. But most of the time we use it during degrees.
Well, and
Nice.
especially, because degree work is so critical, and if you can engage the more senses you can engage during the course of a degree, the better the candidate is going to remember the degree.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's terrific that you're bringing in the scent aspect of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Multi-sensory learning.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
also something to keep in mind too. It's also to keep everything else out.
Yeah.
So you have when you go in there, number one, like you said, Byron, candidate's going to remember that always. But it's also you go in there, it's to keep everything else out. So you
Yeah.
go in there and you smell that stuff, you're just like it. I think it puts you in a mood instantly where you're like, okay, this is what we're doing here is serious. I think it gets everybody on the same wavelength, so to speak.
Well,
Well, and there's,
Hmm.
sorry,
It
go ahead.
sets a tone.
no, I was just gonna say like you hit several things. It puts everybody on the same wavelength, but you're also controlling the experience. So you're doing something to illuminate any kind of anything that could be negative in place of something that could be positive. It's the same thing going back to the lighting. What I was talking about, like if you got some stains on your wall, or if you turn down the lights and only put lights on the things you need to emphasize or the things that are important, which you know what they are, right? Because we already put lights on those things. Then everybody that comes in, they're not noticing the stains on the wall or the ugly tiles or any stains on the carpet. They're noticing the lights and the things that those are emphasizing. And if you come in also, and if you have a stinky lodge, if you're controlling the scent, everybody comes in and they're all having the same experience with the scent. So anything.
You know, it'd be interesting.
What?
Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say
I'll
it's
let
the
you
same.
finish.
It's the same thing with dress, and this is a sensitive subject for people. You're controlling the experience because if everybody is dressed the same, then also there's no you're it's the same concept as wearing the gloves. When you shake each other's hands, you can't tell if they have calluses or if they work in an office or in the field because they're wearing gloves. You're giving everybody the same experience, putting everybody on the level. They all go in the lodge room. This guy is not, well, this guy's dressed nicer than I am, or look at that stain on the wall, or what's that smell, or something like that. You're doing everything you can to control that experience. What are you gonna say, Dennis?
I was gonna say, yeah, you can control it even more by creating a stank in the ante room or right outside the ante room, and then as you move in, it becomes more neutral. and then once you go into the lodge, it's completely a different smell, and it's a pleasant smell. You could actually control it, make a even bigger impression by changing that. It would almost be like if you had, let's say you had pleasant symphonic music playing inside, just low key in the background, right? You don't really notice it unless you really just have silence for a moment and just everybody just focus on it. Have that in the background in the lodge. But let's say you have some treacherous sounding screeching or whatever inside the ante room. That's, talk about a difference, right? What if?
But hang on, now you're getting towards, excuse me, chamber of reflection stuff. We can't have any of that in Texas.
Just get like some spooky Halloween sounds. And just
Damn it, you caught me. Yes, yes.
But no, the music is another thing, and you're right about that. If you have music in the lodge room, instead of people coming in and just having their own conversations when they come sit down, well, you have this music, and it makes it almost uncomfortable to like try to speak over it, right? So you just come in, you sit down, and you're reflecting on that music.
Well, that's why they used to have intermission music. It wasn't during intermission. It wasn't a time for the crowd to start, getting all rowdy and talking to where they couldn't continue with the show. Mm-hmm. Intermission was just simply so you could go to the bathroom and come back. Yep. And so they had the intermission music so it would keep your focus, and then it would you would just jump right back into the show.
Right. Well, and one of the other things that I think is important to remember too is that of our five senses, the one that triggers the most memories, and this appears to be, I forget who it was that did the study back in the 70s, but the sense of smell is the most memory triggering sense we have. And if you think, back into your childhood, back into your teenage years, into your 20s or whatever, there are certain scents, certain smells that when you experience them, even today, bam, you're right back.
Yeah,
like
and there's a lot.
The smell of brownies.
There's a lot of
for me, it's like straight to third grade. It's really uncanny almost how strong that associative system works, where you get the smell and then you're right back into a spot, into a memory. So if we get our initiates, our candidates, our brethren to associate a particular smell with a particular job or with a particular portion of our ritual, then it just becomes that much stronger in our minds. It becomes that much easier to internalize the lessons that are imparted through those. And I fail to see how there's a downside in that.
I know of lodges that use a different incense for every degree, and they have a different lighting theme. There's still the lights are still turned down, but they have different lightings. So, for example, it's dim, but it's a greenish hue, the little bit of light there is, and so, or it might be bluish. But every degree has a different scent, and like you're saying, you'll smell that later. You might smell that frankincense or that sandalwood or something somewhere else, and it'll make you think of that EA degree or that master's degree or something like that.
I think that's great. After this is over with, I'd love to know where those lodges are so I can go visit.
You're pretty close to one of them.
Hey, right on.
Yeah, I like music as a self-proclaimed musician. I like music, and so I actually have memories associated with songs.
Oh yeah,
and moments, and not even a full memory, but a moment associated with a song. I can hear a certain song, and it takes me right back to my first car. I hear one, and it takes me to my first date. I hear a song, and it takes me back to when my mom died. The moment she died, it takes me there because I always had music playing in my life, and so yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So different things trigger different parts of your brain, and can bring back those memories. And I think the more we put into place, the more likely it is to come back when certain things are triggered.
What's crazy about what you're talking about is this isn't new information, and our brother knew about this, and if you look historically, this is how a lot of lodges did things. They had lower lighting, they had really nice food, they had dress codes, they had they might have incense, they would have music. Music in Texas is an established thing. We had music for a long time. And somewhere along the line, we shifted towards this more industrial lighting, mass production kind of mentality, where it became less like a place of reflection and more like a factory with bright lighting and the whole mentality that came with it.
You mean we didn't always have neon green G's in the background? Are you sure?
Well, they got to match our neon tapestry. I mean, our neon tapers.
And our green bean casserole.
And our green bean casserole, exactly. Talk about making
G's
sense
for.
outside the lodge room. Well, we'll just serve beans that night. I'll take care of it.
We actually, speaking of what our brothers did back in the day, we actually did away with our lit up G, because you have light coming down on it. But our G is the original G that was made
OG.
for our lodge back in, it's the OG from 1852, or actually 1854 is when the lodge was built. So that's the G from 1854 that we currently hang in our lodge. But yeah, they were onto something.
I think a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, like the burning tapers that are light bulbs, and the neon G, I think they're just a result of a time when we were still kind of cutting edge, and they were a novelty, right? They're like, oh man, look, we can make a neon G. Look at these, we have burning tapers, but they're shaped like the square and compass, and everyone's like, oh, electricity, that's so cool. And they probably were cool at one point, but now they're not. And sometimes the original is the best, so we need to shift back towards the original. But I get why we have them, because they were a novelty at one point, and then we just never got away from that.
Yeah, like Scott says, convenience. That's part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
We have had so many different eras that we've really gone through in Freemasonry in Texas, from the 1830s to today. So we're talking about what however many years that is. Don't make me math. But the point is that, as you said, Justin, too, that we've seen so many changes in the way we interact with each other and the way we interact with our environment around us. And yeah, some of these things are fad-ish, from their day, that have just stuck around because nobody wants to change it. Because, we're all resistant to change. Mm-hmm. I do have to giggle a little bit, though. During the degree that I was able to take part of in this weekend, one of the 3 square and compass shaped tapers kept flickering, and and the secretary had to reach over and go and jiggle it a little bit so it would just stay on steady like the other 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it was but that's probably inappropriate, but indicative of, in some ways, the state of masonry in Texas. Sometimes we have a dim bulb that flickers a little bit, and you need to give it a little shake and make it stay on.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about.
I like that.
I think that's allegory. Is that allegory? Maybe.
Could be. All right. Well, let's start wrapping up with final thoughts. I got It's getting late,
Man,
and I got children.
I just
growing
got I just got started. You always got something
I
going
know.
on.
They're literally.
Oh, please, Dennis, you're always just getting warmed up.
Before we wrap up, I need to do a brag real quick. So Friday night, Sarah, we had the opportunity. Sarah went to a meet and greet with one of the Olympians from the 2024 Olympics, and he was answering questions from all the people, and it's the thing that she wants to do, which is trampoline, and that's what she wants to focus on. And so they're doing this meet and greet, and she asked several questions, and so did all the other kids. Well, at the end of the meet and greet, he said, why don't you come back in the morning and we'll see what you can do on the trampoline. It's like, well, shit, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so we take her back the next morning on Saturday, and she does a little bit on the trampoline. Lo and behold, he brought his coach with him. His coach is one of 4 in America that teaches the Olympians in gymnastics. It's one of the Russian coaches that's in Lafayette, Louisiana, and that after the coach watched her for a little bit, he invited her to Lafayette to train one-on-one with him to see if this is really what she wants to do.
Wow, man, that's exciting!
Sweet,
congratulations, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've already decided, man. I'm gonna sell one of the houses that we have and buy one in Lafayette. her mom can live down there the first 6 months, and we'll just swap out and do it that way, and that way she'll get to have her opportunity. But cool, that's pretty badass.
That
man.
is, man.
I'm so proud of her.
She's going places with the Olympics, man.
But man, she asked the questions. They were her questions, and she asked, and she went through it all with them, and then he invited her, and we had no idea that his coach was going to be there. And sure enough, man, Dmitry Polishov or whatever, something like that.
Something off.
Yeah, something off. I can't.
Hey.
Or actually, it's something off, ouch, or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
But
so I just want to say this real quick to you, Dennis. Out of the park. Nice job,
right?
Dad.
Oh, man,
nice
I don't know
job,
about
Dad.
that. I don't know about that, but I'm going to make sure.
But you raised the girl who asked the questions, who created her opportunity. Way to go, Dad.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
That is really awesome.
But that was a pretty cool highlight of this weekend that happened to us.
Derek Rogers.
Can we make that a theme for our closing moments?
I was like,
can we brag on stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to brag on my brothers from Camp San Saba. They put on a wicked cool degree. The fellowcraft degree that they conferred Saturday night was awesome. It was so much fun. To see the engagement amongst the brethren, to see the reactions on the brother's face who was receiving the degree, I just, that was the highlight, absolute highlight so far of my month.
Nice.
And my place is under contract to sell, and I'm putting the degree on top of the sale of the property. Because that was
very
just
nice.
way
That's
more
awesome.
fun.
That's
all I got.
Very cool. Does anyone else have something?
Yeah, I'll finish up with what I'd want to say. So as far as bragging goes, I would like to brag on Masonic Improvement and the Inner Circle for all of the influence that you guys have put into my life to help me lead my lodge this year. It has made such a wonderful improvement in how I could have done it. If I would have never found you guys, this year would have been, the same old grandma's ham. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm working on right now. I'm working on an invitation to send to our new initiate, because I'm going to send them an invitation saying, "Be here at this night at this time."
Very cool.
I'm going to stamp it with a wax seal. That's something I learned from you guys. I'm doing the degree first and the meal afterwards. Um, the stuff that I did to help me get my dues raised last month, my degree fees, these are all things that I've learned from you guys and from people that I met through you guys. And I mean, this whole thing that you got going on here, um, I think everybody should be a part of. You were talking about it last month about how basically, this thing should grow, and you would be happy to see more and more and more people, joining this thing and enjoying learning how, because you can only travel so far and so much time away from your family to learn how all the other lodges are doing things. And right here, I'm getting all the information from all over the state right here in my living room, man.
Yeah.
And man, this has been a fun journey for me. And I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be a part of this. And I really enjoy it. This is the highlight of my masonry.
Well, that means a
Nice.
lot. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
definitely.
Yeah, that's humbling.
But-
Yes, thank you.
To that point, you are the ones that make it what it is. You are the ones that made the center circle what it is. I mean, I wouldn't have known about that incense burner if Scott didn't show that. I mean, I learned something tonight.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, that means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that wholeheartedly.
And tell your wife thank you for having us in her living room. And I appreciate the drink.
Does anyone else have
Seriously, tell her I said
Yeah, these things from HEB are addicting. Stay away from them.
something? I saw you chugging.
Stay
right?
away from them. $4.50 for a 12-pack.
Yeah.
Look, and they
We-
got
we drank-
peach. They have Tropic Thunder, or
that's funny. Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
We drink
they're addicting. Stay away from them.
we drink all the fizzy waters that they make.
I'm addicted to the crazy waters out of mineral wells. You ever had those? They're
I'm
at
too
HE.
cheap.
They're at HEBs. Well, they're not really expensive, but it's mineral water out of mineral wells, and it's good, man. You get like they have it on a scale of like 1 to 4, and 4 has like the highest mineral content, but it tastes kind of lakey, like it has kind of like a flavor. But man, I'm telling you, you could drink one of those and go mow,
I'm gonna
like go out and mow
I'm
your
gonna have
yard,
to try.
and you're hydrated the whole time. They hydrate you so well. You should try one. You can get them HEB.
You know what you know what the mineral is that's so special in mineral wells?
Lithium, baby.
That's right, lithium.
So you stay hydrated. You stay pepped.
Yeah.
Pepped
Stay
up.
happy too. Yeah.
Very cool. Anyone else have something?
Yeah, we got our stated meeting tomorrow night. No, it's kind of short notice, but stated meeting. And
Where?
I'm sorry?
Where?
Soul Ross Lodge, College Station. And probably maybe toward the maybe early December, we might be doing a fellowcraft degree.
Nice.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to see Freemasonry done well, go to College Station, go to Soul Ross or St. Albans. Those are both two fantastic lodges. And they got a great building. I mean, they do everything right there. So that's up to you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely let us know when you're going to do that fellowcraft, because College Station is only an hour and a half away. I can make
Okay.
that run.
Yeah, it's about how far it is for me. Like an hour and a half. Hour 45 minutes.
Carpool.
There you go. Very cool. Anyone else?
Anybody else? Okay, Justin, do yours and I'll do mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a little bit about what Brad was saying, and I say this every time, but I mean it, and I want to be sure that everyone understands this. Like, I don't take any of y'all for granted. I appreciate everything that each of y'all bring to the table, and the y'all make this inner circle. Y'all make this life what it is, because each of y'all go out and have different experiences throughout the week, and y'all come back whenever you do. Some people like we had Trenton here who hadn't been here in a while, but he came back and shared his stuff, and that's we learn from each other, and then the people that are listening learn. The advantages that we have here is we can communicate with each other and ask each other questions directly, and we usually have like a short little discussion after we wrap up here. When the live stream is over and we're still in the Zoom, and so there's a huge amount of value that I get from each of you, and like Brad said, he gets value from this also, and other people have communicated similar where they get a lot of value from this. And I guess what I'm just trying to say is thank each of you for coming on as often as y'all do, sharing your thoughts, contributing, because y'all make the inner circle what it is. Y'all have changed Masonic Improvement. You've changed the face of Masonic Improvement, not just because of your participation, but also you have influenced my opinion on many things. And I can't speak for Dennis, but I think it's probably the same as well, and for the better. And like you said, this is mostly a Texas YouTube channel, but people across the world watch us, and so the things that we say have impact. And so when y'all are having impact on us, that's also impacting Texas Freemasonry. It's impacting United States Freemasonry, global Freemasonry. So thank y'all for that. To that point, if anyone watches this, if you want to be a part of this, look in the link in the description. Consider joining the inner circle. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of value to it. And if you watch this or any of our other episodes and you've got any value whatsoever, please consider joining the inner circle. I mean, there is a small financial contribution, but it all goes towards the show. We have Zoom, we have tools for YouTube that we pay for, video editing. These things all cost money, and it all goes towards it. So definitely appreciate everything that y'all do, because that definitely helps us to with the production value and everything we do. So thanks again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, not to mention the computers, the electricity, the
internet,
all the
yeah, I guess you could say all that.
Yeah. But anyways, I'd like to where do I want to start this at? I'd like to say that, again, with what Justin says, I appreciate everyone. And I appreciate all the people that I've met through this, and not just with the inner circle, but outside of the inner circle. I think that I am better for having the friendships that I have right here on this inner circle, and as well as being better for the things that y'all have said. And I've had people bring you guys up during conversation in other grand jurisdictions, just all over. The topics of the show aren't just ours anymore. They become, it's no longer just Justin's and mine. They become ours as a group, and I think that that's very important for y'all to understand, because it is a reality that you guys are making a difference out there as well. And what's very cool is that we do get to see, the ideas that we have, that we've learned from other people as well, that have been passed on to our newest master of the lodge. That's freaking awesome, man. That's I would say it ranks it right up there with having a brother that we've seen go through all the degrees on our show. and that's just freaking awesome. Having Jeff on and then having Brad, having that is just badass for me. That's badassery, in my opinion. We're just gonna call it what it is. That's badassery, man. But that being said, I'd also like to remind everybody that we're going to have our Masonic Improvement Inner Circle Festive Board, and that'll be at Grand Lodge, which we're encouraging everyone to go back to Grand Lodge.
Yep.
Even if you're not going to come to the Festive Board, even if you're not selected as one of the entries coming into the Festive Board, then you still need to show up to Grand Lodge, because we need you there. Not just us, but Grand Lodge needs you there. The Grand West needs you there. We need you there to show that you care about what has happened in the past and what is happening presently and where we want it to go in the future. And it's not to pound our chest. It's not to create division within our fraternity. This is to bring our fraternity back together and say, look, this wasn't just a schism. This is just the new culture of Texas Freemasonry, and we're going to be responsible with this thing. And we care about it. We're going to nurture it, and we're going to develop it as it goes. And do we have all the answers? No, we don't. Not any one of us individually have all the answers, but we all have it collectively. Because and no matter which direction we go in any decision, if we make that decision together, then it's going to be the right decision, because it's going to be the decision of the majority, right? That's the most important thing. Whether we like it or not, the end result is the decision of the majority, and we have to make sure that majority is represented. That's the big thing for me. Not to mention we have some pretty cool people that are coming up for election that I happen to like a whole lot. Which there's some people that are going that are available that are coming on the show. And I got another confirmation. Not only did Park confirm with me that on November 30th we'll have our interview. By the way,
Gotcha.
but also Greg Wright also confirmed with me that he would like to accept our invitation for everybody that has made themselves available for a position, and his is for the home and school.
Okay.
For the board for the board for the home and school, and we won't talk about his position on any of that, but I would like for people to get to know him. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Park. We don't need to politic for anybody. All we have to do is let people get to know the man and the Mason, and they can make their decisions from there. And that's why this is open to any brother that's made himself available for any position. Just give us a buzz.
Yep.
You'll get on the show, because it's that important to us that everybody is represented if they would like to be represented. So that being said, I do hope to see you guys in January. I hope to see most of you in the Inner Circle dinner on Thursday night of the Grand Lodge session.
What date will that be?
That should be, I think, the 16th. It's either the 14th or the 16th. Let me look real quick.
It's the 16th.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the Thursday of Grand Session. So
Gotcha.
That's all you need to know.
Just for the listeners.
I get there on Wednesday, so I might get there on time. But all you need to know is Thursday, 6 p.m., you're supposed to be at the Inner Circle Festival. Which, by the way, there will also be a hospitality suite at 5 p.m. Over at the Hilton, and that one is courtesy of Carlton Newberry, and he had one last year. He's going to have it again this year. So we encourage everybody to go say hi to everybody. Don't get drunk. Go say hi to everybody, and then come over to the dinner. Let everybody know where you're coming, where you're going. Also, for all you secretaries out there, Form 990N is almost due, so get it done. Also, and since you've done your Form 71, you should be able to do your 990N pretty easy. And then also, there's a secretary school in November in oh my gosh, I can't believe I just drew a blank. Where's the home and school?
Fort Worth, I believe.
Arlington.
Yeah,
Arlington.
Arlington.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Arlington.
So there's in Arlington there's a secretary school with Right Worshipful Brad Billings, and also in Waco. I will see you at the one in Waco in November or December. The one after, so there's one coming up this month, October, in Arlington, and then in November it'll be in Waco. November 16th, I will see you in Waco. I just wanted to throw some of that out there because it's some of the stuff that's happening in Texas that's kind of important. All you secretaries need to get out there and get there, and all you worshipful masters or actually junior wardens and senior wardens, you need to get out there too, because you should know what your secretary is doing. If you're going to lead the lodge, you need to know what everybody's job is. So do that, and do the treasurer school as well. It's just going to make you better. Other than that, brothers, I don't have a whole lot except for I appreciate you. I care about you, every one of you. I love you. Thank you, and keep it between the points.
Later, everybody.
Have a good one.